So I'm concerned with monotheism and its prevail. And I had a talk with a very good Christian. I have had talks with many Christians. I also had talks with some Jews, and for many years also the Muslims. And I'm very concerned, passionate about monotheism, the belief in the one God that many people does not really accept or realize the strength of. And in that sense, I've also been concerned about the inner conflicts that are in these three religions that represents monotheist thoughts and monotheism in its whole. And so the people I've talked to, and I'm one of them, who run away from monotheism at one point or another, was because we found the corruption in people and in humans who were being misusing and abusing monotheism in different forms. It could be a clergy, it could be inner conflicts, it could be a way of abusing the power that has been given by God to those who are knowledgeable, the rabbis, the teachers, the learners, the priests, the theologians, the imams, the muftis, the people who are in charge and have a great responsibility on their shoulder. And so I've been very concerned with that because it would be very beautiful and nice to have this clear and good picture of a good and giving society. And so in one of these talks I had with a Christian who is very founded in his faith, and he was an atheist in his youth and found faith through logic. And then he found faith through his passion for Christ. And so when he discussed with me about, the Christ as the God, as God's Son, really physically, and partly that's the ideology that separates the Christians from the Muslims and the Jews, I told him that, and we are very respectful in our talks, that I understand his passion. I understand he gets it from the New Testament and from the Nicaea Council, and that the Jews rejected that. But have you ever thought that the Jews rejected the idea of Jesus as God's Son because they have been guarding monotheism for thousands of years? It has been given to them as a task and a duty, and one whole section of the Jewish 12 tribes, was it the Eli's, who had the priesthood in the Jewish society. It means their only task is to take care of the temples and be sure that God's name prevails and stays alive among the people. And so the many prophets of the Israelites has been sent time and after to correct whatever wrongs had been gone astray for the people. And so in that sense, I told him, you understand that, well, if you have been guarding the truth about monotheism for 2,000 years, and here's a figure who tells you, well, I'm the God, or I am he, I am the one who is, I'm the one who reveals himself as a God in human shape, it's very natural for you to react against that because it is a way of conserving the true belief that God, the true one, is beyond our reach in every sense and in every way. We cannot get where we can grasp fully that God. We can understand some of his creation and the creatures and whatever has been put into motion in scientific forms or in nature and art and culture. We cannot grasp this God. And he understood that, despite he also, of course, gave me another argument saying that, well, it's God's choice. And I said, yeah, it's true, it's God's choice. And he said it's God's choice to have sent this son of his, who is himself in a human form, to share our pain and suffering. And well, you can't get further when people are very devoted to a certain faith because of a certain book and what's in it. It's the same when you talk to the Jews. You can't have them understand Muhammad or the Quran because they have certain text and certain views that keeps them binded to the understanding that, well, this is This is a prophet from the Arabs, not the least Ismailis, the slave son. And who are they to put themselves above us? We are the chosen ones in generations. Isaac and Jacob and his sons and the tribes. And so they have been like taking care of monotheism in their own way, with all the wrongs that has been also noted in the Old Testament, in the old books they have gathered, and the stories they have been like reflecting on their own journey and story and suffering, but also corruption, the continuous corruption, and then God's punishment, and the continuous strive, and then what can you say, blessing that comes back to them. So in that sense, I have been looking into these three religions, trying to figure out what is it that has gone so wrong. And the same when I looked into the Muslims, whom I saw as the newest and best of the three religions, pronouncing God's name. But then after 10, 15 years, I found that the corruption is also steep, deep. It is hellish in many ways. And I know many won't admit that because they want to just find the meaning in it. And so when I lived among the Christians for 10 years and besides them and with them, and had also compassionate people there, I also saw the spirit that they had for their way of life and their faith. And so I could see that every part of this monotheistic strain in life, the monotheistic views and ideas, have had its passionate people who, despite everything, would like to find meaning in what they have been following for so long, or reading in the text and in the books. And so that's why you can't make a rabbi and a very passionate Israeli Jew change his mind unless he gets convinced by some Christian argument and he moves. And the same goes for the Christians who move into the Muslim camp. You find them leaving because of a new argument or something that didn't make sense, or contradictions. But most people will try to move because of the corruption they meet, the hatred, the inner fightings, the things that contradicts everything they have learned in the beginning, the idealism in the belief in the one God. When they hit the bottom, as they say, rock bottom, whiskey rock bottom, they hit that, and I hit it too. And I think millions besides me and others have been hitting that too. One great example from history has been Baruch Spinoza, who tried to get out of what he saw was also corrupt way, and tried to find a way to the monotheist God through ethics. Anyhow, many people try to change, maybe outside religion, go atheists, or they try to find a spiritual new path. But those who stay, they are very passionate and very determined to find the meaning in the text within them, and not without them, not by leaving them. And so they blame everyone who leaves and gets out of the true way, as they say, and see them as fallen people who are gone astray. And that might be true also if you reflect that on the texts in the Old, New, and latest Testament, and the Quran as well, the New Testament and the Old Testament. You will see that God can be harsh in judging and saying that if you leave my path, you will be punished. You will go astray and follow the path of the devil and the deceptive one, the deception of the fallen one, Satan will be leading you astray. And so we might be one of some of these persons, and we are maybe afraid we are. At the same time, we find the same Satan and deception and trouble inside these religions and within their walls, which makes it very troublesome to stay in unless you have to put a chunk away of your logic and your heart as well. You have to just bow your neck and say, well, maybe it's me getting it wrong. I will keep following. I will keep holding on. And these people who are leading you in there will keep taking you further and further into deep muds and trouble, and you keep trying to correct it and cleanse it out. So in my opinion today, it's the dirt has gotten so big, so widespread, so difficult to clean up, that a whole new revelation is needed, a whole new some kind of lightning shock, some kind of godly intervention. Because I have really been trying to find God. I hope I have, and truly I believe I have. And I know it's not easy for people to accept that when you're outside or you're not really following what they think. But then when you even discuss with these passionate people, they will point finger at each other just as they will with us that are outside the monotheist like core belief. I don't feel I'm outside. I'm just not willing to be inside the communities anymore. But I'm trying to figure out how are things so badly misunderstood, deceiving, troublesome in the three religions. And this is a quest I'm taking with me because of the love of the one God. And the whole idea behind all the prophets in the Bible and in the Quran is that to correct the ways the people are living and doing. And I know some are trying to correct from the within, and many told me that also, Muslims and Christians, especially these two groups, they told me, well, we know there's a lot of corrupt, but we stay to correct from the within. You will find some of these clergies in the Catholic Church having the same heart and same intention. And the same goes for some of the Muslim clerics who are really fed up with a lot of the misuse and the abuse of power and the way they shift and turn the arguments to make them fit where they are, which positions they are in, which king or loyal subjects they are to keep going, to keep having their positions. So those who are fed up with that and know there is something wrong, they stay to say we will be the beacon of light from within. You have whole movements who are doing that in the Muslims, and the same with the Christians. Whole movements who are trying to say, well, we will salvage the face of God, the idea of God, the love of God from within. And some, they go outside and they turn enemies to these three religions, and they hate them, they will fight them. I know Jewish people who turned atheists or started up atheist and went to the other side. That also happens, of course. But who started religious and turned atheists because they got fed up with something that's very deeply unjust and wrong, and it just doesn't resemble the idea of God as you get it from the beginning, that idealistic way, or that very harsh realistic way that is also very horror-like. I have read the Old Testament, and it was a winter during the COVID-19. I think it was 2020. I read it all in depth, and I had to use the red pen or the red chalk to put underlining the places that's really horror-like, that's really not moralistic at all, that's deceptive, and you get shocked. And so how can you stick to such a book and such a way if you can see that somebody will stab you? Even the prophets will go stabbing someone in the back to get their wives or to get them out of the way, and so on and so on. This picture is slightly corrected with the Christ, who tells them, forget all these things, follow me, trust in me, believe in me, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. And so the trouble they got into is when some of the Christians, in my humble view, they made Christ as the God, the new one, the new God, the true God, the Son of God, that is the eternal. So they made him eternal just as God, and made him of the same material or whatever, just in human form, but there is a true God inside there. The Jewish had to reject all that. And so came the correction in the Quran that was very hard and very cleansing in many ways, speaking especially and directing its voice to the Bible, to the Old and New Testament, trying to correct the basic mistakes that they have been fallen into. And that Quran has also been challenged by the Old Testament people, New Testament people, and people from the outside. And I'm not discussing now whether these books are holy or not, whether they are true or not. I am beyond that. I believe God has sent a message to us through these books. So if a person is atheist, I'm not discussing that at this moment, whether these books are to be trusted. It's more not the idea, but the existence of the one God is somehow totally lost if you look at it from perspectives that's not fanatically from within the Holy Scriptures. And if you look at it from outside the Holy Scriptures, but not an atheistic view, you will also see that it is a dim and unclear idea you will get. People will get all sorts of messages and ideas about and fantasies about that one God and how he is, what he is, and what kind of creature that God is. So you are between these very solid monotheistic texts and between a spiritual way that tries to find God into the mystery of it, not trying to solve the words, trying to solve the mystery of how we feel, how we develop, how we find the light and keep to it, how we get wisdom and grow and in the love of that God. And they get inspiration from the holy text, and they will keep saying there is only one source for all this. There is a mystery behind it, and we are not able to find it. And then you have the people who go attacking these three religions, monotheist religions, seeing them as outdated and old. And I have in former videos talked about why I think they will prevail, not only out of feelings, but also out of arguments, that they have some traits in them, a DNA that makes them prevail and what can you say, overlive the test of time. Yeah, so I'm very concerned with these, with the monotheistic religion from the within, what messages it's really sending to people. And sometimes you just see good things. They keep going, they keep building cathedrals, they keep influencing people and life, and God's name is out there, and people know there is one organizing force. They know it inside them. Even those who does not care or understand religion, they have this sense that, okay, it could be many gods, but there is some kind of organization behind it, organizing force. And even if you call it chaos, if you say chaos is the organizing force, you found a source. So every logic strain in us keeps turning us back to one organizing source, whatever it is. You can call it whatever you like. If you even start saying it all was chaotic and spread out and it wasn't organized or it wasn't intentional, well, that chaotic source is the source, okay? Whatever it is. But here you have a very positive way of putting it, saying there is a live and clever, wise, knowing source that had put everything in motion. I would rather go with that one than saying, oh no, there isn't. It was all chaos, and chaos made it all up. Okay, then chaos is the source. I would rather have this positive God picture. So I see the idea and the picture and the name of the one God get through generations. But I'm very concerned with the big and very tiresome, I can say, corruption within the texts, both how they are explained, understood, put forward to people, how their power is used and abused by those who are in charge. So I know God is following all this and will put it right at one point or another, but until that happens, well, how can the name of one God survive? And some people would say it doesn't matter. You can say whatever you like, but for God it matters. It matters for God to reach us all, and to reach the human organization through science, through passion, through love, through creativity, ethics, conscience, whatever we have available. God is reaching us through all these channels, and strongest through these monotheistic religions that has established themselves as organized forms of practice for the one God and worship for the one God. I also know and am aware of that there are councils where these three religions try to meet and gather what they agree on and go together from there to defend their basic view, that is, there is only one God. And these people are maybe overheard or not really listened to also, and especially within their own religion, because you have some people there not ready or not conscious enough to understand that they belong to the same trait. They would rather say, no, we will fight it out and see who wins. And so we have the battles. Right now is the Jews who are battling for not only survival, but also to prevail. And you have the Muslims just waiting around the corner to push back, and you have the big Christian culture with all its diversion and inner conflicts and troublesome ways, but also strength and passion, also working hard and passionately. I've seen how priests, they go really unselfish, trying to reach out to people in the Far East and the Far West in Africa, and even closest by to their neighbors, to try and make God's name prevail and the love of God prevail. And some of them have been meeting the Jewish and Muslim cultures, and they got another understanding than those who haven't. When they come back from their missionary trips or have had these discussions, they come back, most of them, with an understanding that they share something. They have a lot in common that they have to hold on to and protect each other with, against a world that really is unconscious of the name of God. But the inner troubles in these two religions are the biggest ones, and really the hardest ones to clean up in, because it's texts. And when people go to text, well, they disagree from minute one. But the problem is, when you go to text saying, I found the truth in what I'm reading, you didn't. Well, it's within the same religion. I'm not saying across religions, but within the same religion, two rabbis, two imams, two priests, two theologians, two muftis, and two aspiring learners will be discussing the texts. And so with the idea that they are looking into the truth and there can only be one truth about it, they will start fighting. And those who evolve and understand, well, there can be more than one truth. God has made it a bit cryptic some places, maybe many places, and the text can be understood in different ways as human conditions are mentally, and language and reality is forcing upon the text or upon us. And so they also try to set up rules for how to limit the wrong understanding and the right understanding. So there have been over time a lot of challenges in the text, but passionate scholars have tried to solve them all, saying, well, let's put some framework against how we approach the text, what kind of basic principles we can follow in order to get to the text and understand them correctly. So in that way, they have like a set of rules. And then from time to time, these set of rules becomes obsolete or not enough. And so a new set of rules are being put forward, and they discuss upon it, and they have challenges with it. They fight each other upon all that. And maybe they point finger, not maybe, I've seen it. They point finger as, you've gone astray, you've gone away from God's true path. You will not get so they use the text against each other. They use it also as a way to try and put somebody in or out. We've seen it clearly in the excommunication of the Catholic Church, and this is the most famous example. But you see it also in the hidden monopoly in the Quran and in the ways that Jews, they discuss. They can be so intolerant to each other. I've been told that by Jews themselves. This is not an attack on religions. On the other side, I'm very passionate about them and want them just to show God's name. But it seems impossible, because when you have with these texts a lot of guidance, and a lot of orders, and a lot of ideas, manifestations, facts that have been put forward, and they contradict inside the one text, or they seem to contradict within the framework of the religion itself, they will have to discuss it. And when they discuss it, this can go ugly and bad. And so you have the fractions and the groups and people who, it's like it's easier for some groups within one religion to associate to people from another religion, like Christians or Muslims or Jews, than people from their own religion. And I've seen that as well. And it takes too long time to give detailed examples, but if you travel within these religions, you will see it quickly. You have to understand that when you travel trying to find God's one name, that this is a big and diverted, divisioned group of people within each religion. So when I started out many years ago, I thought I found the truth, and then I had to leave the one book, not leave it totally, but to leave it to see if the others have had the better luck in getting it all together, but they didn't. And time showed me that. It was a very big painful process for me, and it hurt me because I just really want to find the simple there is only one God expressed and followed by all these religions, without punching me on the head that, yeah, but I met the Christians and then the Jews and then the Muslims, and they have all the same traits. They keep saying to you, yeah, you don't have to do anything else but say there's only one God but God. This is it. You will be salvaged. God will look upon your deeds, and if you're a true believer, you will start following. The light will get into your heart. And from there, you see the sneaky way how they're going to judge you later. And so you say, all right, let me follow the path of this certain way. Believing that and reading in the text and meeting up with these people that and then you start understanding. I started understanding that it wasn't enough anyway. There is some ways you have to understand and say and do that will contradict with another group within the same religion, another big group or tendency, or what can you call it, a new way or an old way or something. It will just not be harmonical as you thought it would be. And so they have to tell you, no, you do it our way. This is the most true way. The others, they have misunderstood it. And if you meet with some from the other groups, they would say, poor creature, you ended up with those there. I'm talking within the same religion, whether it's Muslims or Christians or Jewish, the same traits. And they will have you follow a certain dogmas, certain principles, certain ideas in detail, more and more as the time goes, that also make you alienated from the other groups, or the other groups will alienate you because, well, you're not welcome here. You follow that group X or Y or Z or whatever they're called. You followed that rabbi or that imam or that specific idea in how to interpret the text or how to understand God, and we don't believe it's the truth. You have to change your mind, to open your heart. You have to find the truth behind it all, and we have it here. It's basically that's what it's all about. And when you discuss this with them, it takes a lot of time, and it have taken me a lot of time, but it was good time spent to make people aware that what they are saying is psychologically and mentally just the same as the others are saying on the other side. They can't believe it. They keep arguing with you on the text, on the ideas, on what's inside every line and how they found the truth. And it's written just here. Come and read with me here. It's here. And I try to say, okay, I will read with you. Let's go to the text. Let's go to that. And I don't argue with them on the text. I don't try to say, no, you misunderstood, or I just try to say, okay, can you see that your friend over there in the other camp have seen that this is not enough. There is another place they have found that contradicts this place, or explain it or shed some light on it, and they took it in another direction. Yeah, but they are wrong. All right, how don't you know that you are wrong? Because we aren't. We are the ones who found we have the truth. We are following the right path. Okay, so says the others. And I'm between you and I'm outside you, and you have both good manners. I've been there. They have very polite, good manners. Yeah, that's only on the outside. Would you like me to think that of you? I answer. No, of course not. But it's up to you to choose your belief. And what will happen to me if I don't choose? Well, you're outside mercy, or maybe God will grant you mercy as long as you're trying, or it's your intention that counts. It's your belief and faith that counts. Doesn't matter. All right, if it doesn't matter and God can grant me all this peace and love and can grant me mercy even though I'm not part of you, why is it so difficult for you to open up and say the others might be right too? God can grant them mercy as well. And why is it difficult for the other group to accept the same idea about you people? So when I take the discussion into a psychological and mental frame of human existence and way of living, it baffles me how long time it takes, but some of them start realizing, okay, the way I'm thinking is just a mental process I have accepted and I followed into detail, and I shut out everything else to have clearness in my head. But I'm not really, I can never really be sure that I found the one true way and idea that God is giving me. Well, it's actually obvious, but this obvious thing gets lost when every group fanatically and very harshly try to just say and repeat, no, 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 I found it, this is the way, I believe it, this is the way. And if you repeat it enough, you will believe it, and you hope somebody else will, and people does. But those who doesn't, well, they are the devils themselves. They are the people who should be punished and put out of the way, because they disturb everything and everyone, like my position. It's actually disturbing all the positions. That's not good. You will have them all on your neck sooner or later. That's not my intention. That's not what I'm trying. I'm trying to salvage God from all this mess. I can't salvage God. He will salvage me. He will salvage all of us. But I'm trying to salvage my understanding and my belief in that one God from all this mess within the three religions. And so if I take a look, let's say the Old Testament, okay, it's the most rich in stories, resistance, resilience, corrections and mistake. It's very rich on that in detail. And some would say, I would also say, it's very realistic human beasts that is actually depicted there. The prophets are not being put forward as those who are the clever ones. Let me take this talk in another talk all together. Well, I wanted to say this in this confusing video, but maybe one inspired soul will understand what I'm trying to say, is that everybody in the monotheistic religions have to look inward and look into themselves and accept that whatever they're trying to do, it all goes back to God's name and the love for that God. And that's the only thing that would really matter. So if you try to do that, it will be the greatest thing. And many are doing that already, but within the frameworks of their religions, and some from outside it, and some doesn't care about it at all, of course, some fanatically. But everybody is trying to do the same as you. Not everybody, but many others are trying to do the same as you. Hold on to the one truth as you're holding on to yours.